Hello again, thank you for watching. I'm just going to talk briefly about accountants. One of the concerns I think is expense when you're starting out in private practice. If you're working as a therapist with a company, obviously they may be offering to your accounts or whatever. I don't know, but if you're in private practice, you work for yourself. I would recommend very, very strongly to invest in an accountant, and there's a few reasons why. If you're what I do is I start off my accounts weekly, so I document everything that's coming in and everything that I spend money on based on the business. So if I have a business expense and I need to buy something for the business, I make sure that comes out of my business account and then goes to whatever the company is, and I get the receipts of that, and I make sure I keep all the receipts. And the company may be just Amazon, and maybe just buying something like candles. So I send the thing, get the invoice, get the thing printed off, and every Friday what I do is I keep a record of the weekly expenditures and the weekly intakes, and that's by date, etc., etc. So I do this on a weekly basis because it makes it so much easier for me then at the end of the month. So at the end of the month, then all I have to print off is monthly accounts, business accounts or whatever, or anything. It might not come out of my business account. Some people can send me Revolut through my normal Revolut. Other people will pay when I use the card. They will pay through the business account. Sometimes I may have to buy something through my own current account, which is a separate account again, which can get quite exhaustive. But once I document all this on the day, it makes it so much easier that at the end of the year, my accountant isn't ringing me and saying, on January, what did you spend on January last year? And I'm going, how am I ever going to remember that? So it's well worth, really, it's worth the weight in gold, in my opinion, accountants, because although I'm doing the business, my day-to-day bookkeeping, what I do then is at the end of the year, and this is an old school thing I do, and it makes me very comfortable for a number of reasons. I keep envelopes like A4 envelopes, and any receipts or any expenses, like if there's diesel, if there's fuel, if there's tolls, if you're traveling to and from, if you're anything you bought, if you're paying it, put the receipts, keep the receipts and put them in this envelope, and it just means that everything's together in this pack. And then I have, say, January, February, March, April, and at the end of each month I make sure it's completely completed. And then when my accountant calls me, usually around August, September, to send on what my expenses were and stuff, I have my January to December from the previous year all completed in A4 envelopes, and I just post them through a letterbox. And what that does is basically, you might have to pay something like 600 or 700, whatever it is, a year for an accountant, but it's so much better than if you're not doing your accounts and they have to chase up everything through your own accounts and trawl through everything themselves, and then ask you, where's this receipt, where's that receipt, which is going to add time to their thing, and they're going to add money to their bill. So it also helps with businesses, also helps with, you'd have to do every year tax audits and stuff like that come in, and the accountant takes care of all that. It takes so much stress and pressure off. It means that I can more or less focus on what I'm doing. I come into this to be a therapist, not to be an accountant, and I can hand that off to the professional. No, and I wouldn't expect my accountant to be a therapist. I'm not expected to be an accountant. And honestly, it's one of the most helpful things when you're in private practice is to get yourself an accountant. And just make sure that you're all, because it does so much security in it then. And it can be quite a concern if you're thinking when you're starting out, I don't have the money, I can't afford to pay an accountant. You can afford to pay an accountant. I was earning nothing. I was literally earning nothing when I started out. I was trying to take on clients, I was giving low cost, I was making no money, everything was expense. Anything I was earning, I was having to pay to supervision, I was having to pay to insurance, I was having to pay to all the other things we have to pay for. So I was actually working on a loss, and I still tell you it's such an invaluable thing to pay for an accountant. I would recommend you do your books on a weekly basis. I do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday work, and then Friday in the morning I just throw me things together. It's so much easier then. I know exactly what's come in. It's just there in front of me, and then I leave that. Then I'm off for the weekend, and then I start again the next week, and so on. That's my work week. That makes it so much easier then when the accountant comes calling for the information. I have everything ready. I just send it on, and it's so much easier for them, and it's so much quicker. They just get everything done, and anything they need, they'll get back to you, and they make sure you're protected around things like tax. This year you have to do such and such, and just be aware of this, and it's fantastic. So trust me when I say that it's such an easier, stress-free. If you're brilliant at books, great, but I'd still recommend you getting an accountant. Anyway, I hope that helps and you will consider it. Thank you for watching.